I'm Ed Jolly, and in reality, I'm just happy to be here. My career, short as it was in the Marine Corps, began about May the 13th in 1963. After very little deliberation, I thought the Marine Corps sounded like an okay deal too. And life began anew with a quick trip out to Paris Island. I learned a lot of things that I had learned as a Boy Scout, only they were reinforced quite differently. And they would kind of stick with me over the course of time. So it was off to Millington, Tennessee, at the Naval Air Station out there, where I was put through a school. I don't remember, probably 12, 14 weeks, something like that. But at any rate, it was an administrative slot, and during that period of time, John Kennedy was killed. And that seems to stick in the mind as well. As time wears on, then I find myself at the El Toro Air Station out at Santa Ana, California. And so that began a new chapter in my quote-unquote Marine Corps life. And as fate and good fortune would have it, I got to meet a lot of experienced leaders who were interested in sharing what they knew and adamant about it being done correctly. That would have been from more than likely about November, December of '63 until about August of '65, when I got a new set of orders, and I was assigned then to an HMM 364. And so with not much more ado, said, get your stuff and hit the road. It's time to go. And I guess probably by the end of August in '65, got on the USS Princeton along about, it had to be the end of August, maybe early September, with a whole swarm of folks I had never seen before, much less gone swimming with, so to speak. And the Princeton was I didn't know it, but it was not a really big boat, but it was packed full of humans and packed full of equipment and packed full of stuff intended to really cause a difference in somebody else's life, as well as the guys that were going to be involved in it. And so off we went across the big blue waters, where we all got to stop and look through portholes and look off the flight deck, and we got to see Hawaii. We proceeded to cruise on over to Vietnam, and that became a really pretty interesting point in my personal life. Again, a whole set of folks that I'd never worked with one way or the other. I didn't know much about helicopters other than that they went up and down and made a lot of racket. And most of them had a pretty good sized gun strapped in the side of it. for a really good reason. And so, as we started offloading ships after a lot of, they call it Marston matting, I think, created landing pads out there for these helicopters, and they created a community up there on a pile of sand that was primarily tents and pallets and stuff like that to give us a base to work from. And so that became a dramatically interesting part of my life in terms of really the people that I worked with and came to know, from the officers through the enlisted crew, the leadership again. These guys were interested, for the most part, in sharing what they knew. They were interested in every part, in trying to see to it that those of us that came into town with all of our parts intact left the same way. It was really good to work with folks that kind of really gave a shit about what happened to those that were there and to the task at hand. And so as time wears on, lots of weird stuff, lots of tragic stuff, lots of sometimes even funny stuff starts happening. And as I try to reflect on that period of time, even the injuries, the deaths, the bad times, and the good times seem to have found maybe the right place in my life at any rate, because what's left of that time is really a lot of the friendships that were created through that environment, and people that have come back into my life that disappeared out of my life in December of 1966 until probably 2006 or 7. Never seen again or heard even a word from, nor had spoken a word to. And the older brother that was in the Marine Corps had been doing some personal historical research for himself, and he and I had a conversation or two about the outfit that he was in and the outfit I was in, and he told me that he had run across a webpage for the squadron that I was in, and he says, really interesting. He said, there's a whole slug of that on there. He said, as I kind of browsed through it, he said, I noticed they have your name duly listed as dead. So I said, well, where did you find the data? And he tells me the story. And so from that, I kind of started scrambling around, and that's where I reconnect with a bunch of the guys that are here now. And it's been a really terrific experience to be able to chat with men who served at the same time under the same circumstances and actually knew a lot of the personal history that folks lived in that particular situation. And almost what's left of it now is not so much the misery, but the association with men that I came to know and that I trusted, and that a bond was created with that exists today even as it did then. I was a youngster, literally in service, and I was certainly a youngster in experience, and I fell in with a bunch of guys who were willing to accept my inexperience and my newness with almost nothing more than, hey, we've been waiting on you. We got some stuff to do. Let's go. And even as I chat with them today, we all remember. We don't all remember the same stuff, but we remember a lot of what's left that actually occurred and how we've dealt with it. And it's really great to see that, on balance, we've survived ourselves, we survived the experience, and that for the most part, we all kind of grew pretty well wherever we got planted. And some of the guys continued, and had full-blown military careers. Some, like myself, considered 4 years an adequate career and were just as eager to kiss it goodbye for me as I was when I did that I do stuff, on the very front end. And the times in Vietnam, from the local stuff going on, as we browse through the day-to-day life, and yeah, people got hurt, equipment got tore up, stuff got shot up, stuff got patched, stuff got fixed. But when our little maintenance honcho and old master gunnery sergeant named Langsdorff comes through there in the morning telling you about, he woke up in the middle of the night and there's a damn big rat standing on his chest looking him right on his red nose. I still remember that. I mean, it's stuff that kind of transcends some of the other stuff. The changes in officers even. We went from a maintenance officer, guy by the name of Billy Adams, to another captain, Dick Gleason. And the guys were both good pilots and were both good men. Interestingly enough, Gleason had just a little bit of a twist in the way he did business that really changed, from my perspective. It made a lot of difference in my attitude and approach as far as doing stuff. And nothing particularly different other than a leadership style, that's all. And just kind of made it a little bit easier to do the same work a little bit better, or at least the efforts. And he's quite an interesting guy, to say the least. And it was a treat to work for. The stuff, the guys next door get the damn card game. They get to teasing one of the guys. And regrettably, when that happened, they were in a little storage, semi-storage shed over there where they had all the duffel bags, everybody's clothing, all that kind of crap stacked up in a, if I remember right, it may have been over the armory. And old Chris kept telling the guys, quit that, leave me alone, don't do that. And of course, they listened as they usually would. When they really started listening was when he picked up that machine gun over there and run about a half a clip across that guard table where no one was injured, and every damn sea bag in that place wound up with 14 holes in it. So, and poof, the following day, one more day in Keha, and life went right on down the road, just like nothing ever, And that's the kind of stuff that kind of carries the day for the most part, with the exception of on a personal basis. Vietnam, after we got in there, it wasn't long until it was raining cats, dogs, whales, you name it, it was raining. It was absolutely up to your knees in slop. You name it, clothes we were wearing falling off. Food was some of it was absolutely terrible. The one that forever has been embedded in my mind is burnt split green pea soup, which, and I'm really I'll eat damn near anything if it don't bite me back, but that cured this boy forever over burnt split green pea soup. And they served that stuff up just like it was egg custard pie from the best bakery in town. Nice guys, but that was nothing uncommon about that. In terms of, it wasn't as if they were trying to poison us. Hell, I guess they did the best they could. But I always thought, well, they could have done that just a little bit better. But and life kind of went on with that. And of course, I worked for some really decent folks from Gleason on down, Langasdorf, and Jefferson, and Shane, and Lemire, Overstreet, and that list kind of goes on and on. And fortunately, it's great to be able to see and visit those guys now. Most of the men that I worked with obviously were what I call professional airmen, professional Marines. In that sense, they spent a lot of time in the air, and they spent a lot of effort and energy in trying to make, I guess in one sense, this whole world a better place, but in a very practical sense, to survive a pretty tough situation. And in my association with them, of course, we all developed friendships, and even as those friendships developed, and I flew off and on, not a whole lot, but I flew off and on with a variety of these crew chiefs, and those were, with limited exceptions, there might be a few check flights and stuff like this. I'd go to Captain Gleason, just confirming maintenance work and so forth. But a lot of the rest of the stuff was actual flight time, and everything from moving fish oil to uh, Vietnamese, hauling pigs, you name it, yeah, and hauling troops in and out of various and sundry places, most of them where we were not welcome and where folks had a hell of a way of expressing their discontent with our presence. And in one of those little sojourns, we were extracting a bunch of guys from Lord only knows where. I don't have a clue. But it was not a pleasant place to be. Those guys had been under fire for quite some time, and as they were being extracted, they were still under fire, and we had gathered up a pretty good load in an old UH-34D, which was an interesting machine in and of itself. And as we were leaving that landing strip where we picked them guys up, of course, everybody is taking a variety of fire in that little mission. And fortunately and unfortunately, the craft I was in got its share of the lead slung its way, and again, fortunately, yeah, this was really fortunately, as I was leaning out a window just hammering away, then I catch something around, or maybe shrapnel or whatever it was, but it was enough that it sailed my young ass from that gunner's side to the exit door on the other side. And fortunately, one of these big black Marines caught me as I was sailing toward that exit in a way that just made me fall in love with that guy instantly. It's one of those, aha, thank you, in a whole damn different way. And, you know, this wasn't news for those guys either, because where I was removed from that M60, it wasn't a heartbeat. That one of those guys had already glumped onto that sucker and were hammering away. And as it dawned on me that, hey, you really ain't dead. You just thought you were. And it was one of those deals where I was literally willing and able to resume what I was doing when that happened. And that little twinkle was a different kind of wake-up call, and made, I guess, forever life taste just a little bit better. And as we dropped those guys off and completed that mission, and we get back to our MAG 36 base, hop out, and I gotta say, hey, get your ass up there to the damn doctor's office. And sure enough, went up there, and you know, a few stitches later, and it was, get your ass out of here. And that was nice in a lot of respects. And you know, even from that time on, uh, I by no means uh, I was fortunate. I was really fortunate, and I was pleased to have been that fortunate. And even with the guys that I see up here now, it's an absolutely wonderful treat to be able to sit and chat and talk with guys who have had similar experiences, who have had far, far, far worse experiences, and who continue to remember and continue to, for lack of a better word, embrace me in the fellowship. Uh, the reunions over the course of time, even though it's been, just the last several years that I've reconnected with these guys, have been a terrific opportunity to renew some literally old friendships and to chat with guys that knew me that I knew then when, and makes life just a little bit better. And so over the course of this time, it's been a real treat to renew these friendships after we started busting up in I guess it was probably around December, I guess maybe 66 or so, and I wound up on a little tin can of some kind. In all candor, I don't even remember. It was a little short hop transition. I guess really between leaving 364 and resuming or returning to Santa Ana. Seemed like there must have been about a month or 6 weeks or something like that in between there and after I got back into Santa Ana, El Toro. It was almost like a quarantine, and I don't know that everybody experienced that, but for probably a month, it was just transit barracks over there, and it was piddling, for lack of a better word, and so after about a month of that, and then I took about a month's worth of leave time, and the new orders sent me out to Cherry Point, where I went to work for an A4 operation, which is about, it's the same deal, but it's a remarkably different aircraft and a remarkably different crew of people who were flying those things. And I had been there only maybe a couple of 3 months. And that squadron was deployed out to proverbial, I think it was Yuma, Arizona. And I was, when they were, I guess, probably the middle of April, we were going out there, and I was going to be discharged in the middle of May, that following month. And so after many various and sundry conversations with everybody that had a oak leaf, a gold leaf, or $1,000 bill, whatever it took, to encourage me to continue my exploits with the United States Marine Corps, I opted out. I really thought 4 years and a gigantic slice of wonderful luck was probably pushing that luck as far as I was interested in pushing it. And so, middle of May, old Eddie boy headed for the house. And interestingly enough, went to work for a friend that I grew up with for 2 or 3 months. And it was really a good thing for me to do. It reacquainted me with a lifestyle that I was really not interested in getting overly comfortable with, like any of you who have been involved in wheat, rice, bean harvest, any other kind of farming operations where there's a lot of good old blood and sweat, peach fingers and all kind of stuff. That it's okay, and many people make a terrific life of it. The end of it that I was on, I wasn't too excited with, so I went back to school. I had just enough sense left, I guess, to do that, and that worked out okay. I went ahead and completed a bachelor's and a master's in business administration, turned around and went to work for the Postal Service, and I thought I would do that until I could find a real job. Well, about 37 years later, I retired from the Postal Service, and over the course of the last 10 years or so, I've done quite a bit of farming. I've done more remodeling than I was ever interested in learning how to do, and have really, over the past, maybe 3 years or so, I've got to a point where I don't even wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning automatically. Hell, I may even sleep till 8 o'clock. And, if push comes to shove, it's, kick one of the two of the dogs out of bed, hell, sleep another half an hour. So, life is really good. I live in metropolitan Mulberry, Arkansas, and you'll have to kind of back into this. First off, where Arkansas is, maybe, kind of in the center. Well, I'm over on the left hand, I guess the west side of Arkansas, right at the state line. You're a little community called Fort Smith, which was a jumping off place in the early days for the Wild West. Well, it ain't so wild anymore, but it's still a kind of a jumping off place in that area. We sit right below Northwest Arkansas, which harbors the likes of Walmart, J.B. Hunt, Tyson, some of those boys, and the state continues to just explode in population and a lot of other things. Interestingly enough, over the course of the past few years, my life has continued to explode too, in the reconnection with a lot of men that I had a lot of respect for and had a lot of good feelings for, just in the way that they were willing to treat me when there wasn't any real, and nobody owed me anything. And the strikes, of course, came as I worked my way through the system. And interestingly enough, that E5 rank came for me the same time it came for a bunch of other guys who had been in service for quite some long period of time. and it was a throw his ass in the mud hole with the rest of them, and really, as I reflect on this piece of my life, it's really been good, and I'm remarkably fortunate to have survived to this point. And being a Marine, I can tell you, and this guy runs as deep as it will ever run in anybody that's spent 40 years with this bunch of folks. So let me encourage all of you. Help it be what you want it to be. Grab it by the horns, and I don't want to go out healthy as a horse. I'd really like to, go out wore out, scratched up, beat up, worthless as, completely used up. However, that being said, if there's any preference to any of that, I'd just soon drop dead on a dance floor, okay, as to have cancer for 8 months. So life really is good. Thanks for this opportunity.